Well. Welcome to the show. Hashtag PVT on the road. We took a couple of flights and ay, güey, como si volamos para acá, ¿verdad? Como si tenemos dinero para el avión.
Your arms are tired, right?
Venías volando. Yeah, veníamos volando. Don't be at my age, man. 55 will keep me alive, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at Gibby Velasquez studio here in San Antonio. And Gibby, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Just welcome, man. It's an honor.
Hey, thanks for having us here, man. And we were coming to San Antonio to interview David. You know, David Lee is here with us. David Lee Garza.
How you doing?
Big round of applause for both of these guys. So we were coming initially to interview David Lee, and then David said, let's hang out at Gibby's studio. We could do it there. And I said, yeah, man, let's see it. I haven't seen him in a long time, you know.
It hasn't been that long. Órale.
It has, man. De volada se pasan los años, Gibby, ya sabes, bro.
Okay.
Se pasan los años, bro. And so we got to the studio, and I was like, I think Gibby got a little offended because I said he's the greatest engineer, bro. And so he took me in and he gave me a lesson on a producer-engineer thing.
He will do that. He will do that.
Well, you know what? I embrace that information big time, you know, because there is a big difference between producing and engineering.
I'm glad you realized that.
You do both of those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the difference? Just so we can get this started, get out of the way, ladies and gentlemen. This guy's a Grammy Award-winning producer and / engineer, studio owner. Is this your studio, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been here 25 years.
And what's
guitar player?
Guitar player.
Yeah.
Comenzaste tú en la música, ¿verdad? As a músico, who did you play with in the past?
I mean, like everybody else, you start with the garage bands, making a bunch of racket there in the garage, and then I got in with a couple of local groups here playing, you know, quinceañeras, and here in San Antonio, they got all the basses, you know, so the local bands played the bass here and there, and quinceañeras, weddings, etc. But then I started playing with this band called Zapata. I was a senior in high school. There's a club here in town. We were, you know, playing like 6 nights a week, and
we're talking the 70s or what?
This was 72, 73, man. Yeah.
Man.
And then I got in with this band, the Royal Jesters. That was, you know, just when I was out of high school.
David Mares, Adalberto, right? No, it was 2 other guys, right?
When I got in the band, David was there.
Uh-huh.
And we had this other guy named Dimas Garza.
Mm-hmm.
But he left, and we needed another vocalist and a horn player. And I said, I got the guy, man. He plays sax, and he sings pretty good, man. So I brought in Posada because he was playing.
Posada?
He was playing with me with that band Zapata.
Yeah.
So I mean, Joe, you know, when they heard him, he immediately got the gig.
That's where we started.
And that's when we did that album, The Band.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, what are those songs? Cariño Nuevo, and what else is on there? Man, I don't know. It's been a couple of years.
Who's older?
I have the CD, the album.
La Misma Tijera.
La Misma Tijera.
Yeah. And
Pescaditos.
Yeah.
Pescadito.
No, that was another album.
That was the next one.
What a golden era there, huh?
Wow.
It wasn't that long ago. Come
Pues
on.
era cuando teníamos un coffin-like stereo en la casa, ¿me entiendes? That big old coffin that you'd open up.
Your Pioneer, Sansui, blah, blah, blah.
Well, those were the ones with the little glass door that would open, and you had that. But before that, you had that big old peinadora-looking type of stereo. That
and it had a TV in the middle of it. On this side was...
maybe
that was later.
The
That was
TV
later.
was the other thing, but that was a stereo, you know, and you'd open it up like a coffin, and it was a record player, an 8-track player, a radio, and then a little slot for the albums and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember going through my parents' albums back in the 70s and seeing those names, you know, Little Joe, Royal Jesters, and Agustin Ramirez.
Myself.
Sonny.
Who's older between you and this guy, David?
David's older.
No. Oh, really? You can tell by the hair. You can tell by the hair.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, he's got more hair than I do, Gibby does, man. Are you kidding? That's why I wear a cap, dude. So are you...
I think I'm a year older than David.
You're a year older?
Yeah.
So growing up, were you all like in the same music or performing at around the same time, or did you start a little later than Gibby?
Well, probably at the same time, but I was in el Rancho. I am Pochit.
Yeah.
Like Gibby said, we started playing bodas, quinceañeras, backyard parties. I was just coming over here. I was thinking, I was like, what am I going to talk about? You know, when we first started, I remember playing in a backyard. I mean, in an actual backyard, you know, it was just a party and church festivals that were not even at the church, at the at the fire station, stuff like that.
Carmesas, those carmesas. We used to, I think my grandma used to call them fiestas patrias or carmesas or something. Yeah, and they were church things, and then, you started there. How old were you when that happened, man?
I was all of about 11, 12 years old.
So you were born into music, right? Because your dad was a player, and he had a band going? And...
Yeah, pretty much. Tony Garza. He had his own conjunto, and he would help other bands, and then when... Well, I'm the oldest of four of us, 4 siblings, and my brother Adams me sigue a mí. And then when the twins were born, Richard and Rebecca, my mom asked my dad to, you know what, you need to stop playing. You need to help me take care of these kids.
Wow.
Because Uncle Guate's two for one,
And was that all your dad did? Was he just a musician?
No, my dad, he worked, very hard worker, man. And my dad was a heavy machine operator. All his life, man. He worked in the county, construction companies, and he'd had 2 jobs, and then the music on the weekends. He would work 8 hours a day, and then come home and eat dinner. Y se iba a la arenera, que we call la arenera, the sand pits.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sand pits around Putit. My dad would go work from there from 6 to 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Y llegaba y yo estaba ahí con el acordeón esperando. But once I learned the accordion, I wanted to play. So llegaba dad at 10 o'clock. Dad, I don't know. Hijo, me ando cansado. Dije, pues you're the one that started me, quería que tocara. Y so, come on, le daba el bajo sexto.
Wow.
And then we'd just jam a little bit.
That's incredible. What memories, bro.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. And why did he push you to do the accordion, or had you started with drums?
I started on drums. Every kid.
Every accordion I've interviewed, they all start at drums, dude.
Why?
I have no idea why, dude.
Why?
Un saludito para Chete Barrera. That's his lick. Yeah, that's his lick. Man, it's interesting. So you got into drums then?
Yeah, because my dad, el conjunto que tenía, they would rehearse right there, practice right there at the house. Y dejaban el equipo allí, mañana vengo por las tamboras. So when they say even, and the next day I would jump on him, and I said, I can do this, because I would check out the drummer. And so I started playing, and my dad would, myself and my dad would get the bajo sexto, and he would sing, play a song, and yo lo acompañaba en the drums. After a while, it was like, okay, boring.
Yeah.
It was boring.
Yeah.
They were the drummers. I'm sorry, drummers, but it got to the point of, man, boring. And I told my dad, I want a challenge, Dad. I need a challenge. You want a challenge? He went to the closet, man. Y sacó una box así, y sacó un acordeón. Y esa, dijo, te voy a enseñar una polka. Y me enseñó Nuevo Laredo, la polka Nuevo Laredo. Dijo, and after that, you're on your own. I said, and here I was, James. I learned that one polka, and then he said, well, learn this one by the time I get back. And andaba yo crazy, but I was looking for those the food coloring, the little things que le echaban a los cakes.
Sí.
Yo quería que él me apuntara las notes, the buttons, pon esta red y esta green y esta, para saber a cuál.
Yeah.
Y me miró, me dijo, really? Really? Dijo, va a estar toda la acordeón, va a estar toda coloreteada. Dijo, no, you got to learn it. It's got to come from your heart. You got to learn it. So I learned on my own. After that, I had to learn.
There's a certain amount of memory that you need to be able to hit all those notes on an accordion. And I never understood how the squeezing, what it has or what effect it has on the sound. Is it some sort of key thing? Like when you pull out the
bellows.
Is that what it is?
They're called bellows, right, Dave?
Yeah, the bellows, and then the air part of it. Yeah. But you pull out, it's a certain sound, it's a certain key note, and then in is another note.
Yeah.
So you got to memorize where everything's at.
Just to make things more complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
Is guitar harder than accordion, or is guitar hard, or is accordion harder?
You know
than
what,
guitar?
man? I think it's all the same thing. It's what you want to do. If you got the passion that you want to do this, you do it.
And I thought, I learned how to play the accordion. Okay, I know. I think I can play the guitar. The guitar to me is one of the hardest, and the piano.
Yeah.
Because the piano you got to use 2 hands. I admire Joel Guzman. How do you do that, man?
Yeah.
What this? With both hands, and I was like, That's very hard.
Because you would think if you play accordion, you'd be able to play piano.
That's
right?
what everybody tells me. Oh, you know how to play? Well, I te puedo tocar una polquita, hot sauce polka.
Or Color My World. Color My World.
With one hand.
Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah. But not both hands like that, like a real piano player. No.
Yeah.
Not me.
Everybody starts with Color My World, right? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, man. And then your side, because he was on the conjunto side, he had the accordions, he had the bajo sexto. You were in the orchestra.
When I started,
industry.
I was like any other kid. I was playing rock and roll. This is like 69, 70 when I first.
And who were you playing? Like rock and roll? Who
just
were you
making
emulating?
a bunch of racket in the garage,
Okay.
man.
But who was influencing? Who was influencing your guitar?
Whatever rock bands were around. I'll tell you what, the Beatles. Mm-hmm. If there were no Beatles, I wouldn't be doing this. You don't want to be like them, man.
Who hasn't the Beatles influence, right, dude? It's
I don't
crazy.
know. So I started playing in church. Mm-hmm. I went to Catholic school, and they needed somebody to play for the church mass and blah blah blah. And this one guy played, and I said, "Hey, dude, I want to play too. Can you show me?" I always wanted to play guitar, but I didn't have anybody kind of to teach me, man. And then I hooked up with this one guy, and it all started there in church, really. So this was, 69, 70, and then there was this band called Santana. And we were a Chicano kind of band. Hey, look, this guy, man, they're some Latinos, and they're playing rock, man. And we got into that, and it all kind of went from there.
Yeah.
I used to go to the bailes with my parents, man. I would tag along with them, and I saw Little Joe, and I remember Los Relámpagos, here downtown.
Ramon y Cornelio.
Yeah. So that's where I kind of got turned on to kind of, Chicano music, right?
It's interesting, Gibby, because just like him, I was into heavy metal when I was a kid. In the early '80s, I was into Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and Ozzy, and that's what I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to be a rock and roll singer. And then one day I was being a rascal at the house. It was around Easter weekend, and my mom went and dumped me off. I was like in 7th grade, and to me there was nothing better than metal and rock. She dropped me off at the Catholic War Veterans, which you've probably played there between Mercedes and Weslaco in the past, and probably you as well, because it's been there forever. And Little Joe was playing, and I went there, and it was 81, 82 maybe, and it was like right in the middle of when, the orchestra started kind of disappearing off the stage,
Yeah.
So I was able to see Little Joe with an entire orchestra, and I walked out of there flabbergasted. I was like, God, this is crazy. This is amazing. And I remember, I'll never forget, I was a kid, and I used to do my little partying and stuff, And Little Joe, he says, tengan mucho cuidado con los cordones ahí, con los cordones enfrente, porque no quiero que se vayan a dar un toque sin mí. And I was like, all right, dude, that's heavy, dude. Right away, I became an instant fan. And then there was cases of Schlitz flying everywhere, bro. Remember that beer, the Schlitz, Life for Schlitz?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. So then you were playing with your dad, and you started at the age of 12 playing the accordion, and were you right away? Did you learn and catch it on? And were you already playing right away live at parties?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. We, like I said, we played these little parties, and I learned a little bit on the accordion, and then we needed a drummer, and my brother Adam was there, and he would sit on a chair, on the vinyl chairs with forks, and play drums, and just follow us, And he'd tear up all the vinyl chairs in the kitchen down. They were all tore up por los tenedores.
Yeah.
And we said, man, we need a drummer. And I looked at my dad and said, Adam, ¿crees que aprende? Le dije, pues, yeah, I'm pretty sure, So those people, the other musicians who would lead the drums there, cuando ensayaban con mi dad, subía a Adam, le dije, ponte aquí. And I told him, you do this. The bass drum, and then with the snare. Y los hi-hats, he had to play both,
Yeah.
Más antes no había con que, imagina que the more modern, it was just, keep the beat. Y yo le ponía un álbum, iba y abría la coffin esa, la record player, y le ponía el álbum del Conjunto Bernal, de los Relámpagos, de los Hermanos Ayala, y le ponía, le dije, okay, follow that. Ahorita vengo, voy a ir a jugar afuera. There's 6 songs, man. My brother, pobrecito.
Si hubieran video games back then, nunca los agarraras a que tocaran, bro.
So that's how we started, and from those parties, then myself and my dad. Well, right before, let me back up a little bit. Before Adam started playing, myself and my dad, we go to the what do you call them, plataformas. So there was a plataforma in Campbellton, Texas.
And what was the
plataforma Bautista?
Okay. And what was that? Was it like a?
It was
a slab.
A slab.
Okay.
With a stage
without a roof.
And yeah. No, some had roof. No, this one had a roof. Pero parecía like 16 de septiembre. Every Saturday, you know, tenía sus lighting around, you know, and puestos, you know, de comida aquí allá, you know, hamburgers over here, olía la comida and todo. Well, there would be my dad's friends bands would be playing there. Y my dad iba y les decía, ay, pues da una quebradita, yo y mi chavalo tocar. And they would say, ¿a cuál chavalito? Y yo estaba ahí todo débilito, orejón. You know? Ese, ¿qué toca? Yo, por el acordeón. Oh, okay. So we would play, and I've never mentioned his name a lot, pero se llamaba Margarito Hernández. Le decían Magú. That was his band, you know. And thanks to him, I have to give him thanks. Todo el tiempo se me pasa. He just passed away not too long ago, but I need to give him props because thanks to him, for him letting us sit in. It was like a sit-in, right? Myself, I would play the accordion and my dad abajo. Y porque ese Magú tocaba el bajo sexto y Paulo Rodríguez tocaba el acordeón. And they would play nothing but Relámpago songs, and that was right up our alley, you know.
Yeah.
Me and my dad, you know, we'd sing all the Relámpago songs. So we started playing them, and se quedaban viendo, like Pablo miraba, este chavalón está tocando eso, you know, how do you do that, but whatever, yeah. And then they asked us to join the band.
Sí.
So empezamos ahí con él, los metimos con él. And then that band, you know, fizzled out, and that's when we said, you know what, let's make our own band, you know, and we know the songs and this and that.
And what year was that?
That was like 1966, 67.
66, dude.
Yeah. But we didn't start playing.
So in 66, you were 12 years old?
That's what I was just going to do.
Whoa. Back up.
Apenas estaba naciendo yo, carnal.
No, I was born in 57. So in 68,
sí,
68, I was...
69, you were 12.
12, yeah. 68, 69. Because in 68 was the actual time, the first gig as David Lee Garza y su conjunto.
Mm-hmm.
We played there at the Crystal Club in Poteet, Texas, with the late great Delmiro Garcia, the promoter.
I never knew that, David Lee. I mean, I never knew you were already performing in 68. That is shocking, dude. Wow.
It was just, you know, it was a first gig at a salon. You know, and I was all happy. I told Adam, my brother.
Did the people come on horses?
No, not yet. No. I had a Pinto myself, but it was a car.
It was in Poteet, man. So
venían in covered wagon.
No, I'm sorry.
That was further out.
Okay. Moving on.
That was further out allá en Cristina. Llegaban en caballos, yes. Pero I would tell my brother Adam, hey, we're going to play in a salon. Man, you can hit the drums real loud, man. You hit the cymbals. It was exciting to me because before that, I would go see Little Joe, Sonny Ozuna, you know, Rory Montelongo, Los Fabulosos Cuatro, Carlos Guzmán. They would all come play at that place, the Crystal Club. I was there, you know, checking them out, and then it was our time to play. And I remember opening up for the Latin Glows, the Cruz Garcia, the Latin Glows.
For free?
No, they paid us.
¿Sí?
Pero no pagaban una gran cosa, ¿verdad?
$20?
Para toda la banda.
Porque ahora sí, if you have a band and you're just starting now, you want to open up for somebody. You better do it for free.
Yeah, you ain't going to get paid.
Yeah, well, that's good. And that's the way it should be, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that really destroys the business a bit, you know, by all these bands wanting to play for free. But, you know, it's kind of tough. But anyway, you all got paid. That's great.
We got paid a little bit, you know, back then in the day. I remember playing at that plataforma, like I said, the plataforma Bautista. And I remember the whole band, we got paid $12. And we were a 5-piece band. Because after a while, my dad and myself, we would sing all the Relámpago songs, all the latest songs on the KDA radio and stuff, the latest conjunto, Los Pavos, Los Paisanos, whoever was hot, you know, we'd learn the songs. And it was after one night, because we'd play 2.5 hours straight, take a 30-minute break, come back and play one more hour. That was a full gig. And at the end of the night, estamos todos roncos, my dad and myself, right?
Yeah.
So we said, let's look for somebody to help us sing. So that's where we got the vocalist to come in. Ahí empezó la onda de
Was Ram the first singer?
No, Ram came later, ¿verdad?
Wow, that's another thing I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So Pato was the first singer?
Pato was a singer with David Lee Garza.
Was that Chente Barrera's dad?
Yes.
Órale.
Pero todavía éramos
Small
David Lee
world.
Garza y to grupo musical because we weren't in a conjunto no more because we had Wowie on the sax, and we just didn't sound like a conjunto. You know.
I was going to ask you about that with the sax, incorporating the sax. Was that something that was inspired by another band, or was that something that you all just came up with?
No, my compadre Roberto Pulido. Los clásicos were, wow, sax and accordion. Yeah. And maybe they weren't the first ones to do it because I believe Isidro Lopez and Tone de la Rosa, they did that también.
Órale.
Pero this was a different sound. Roberto Pulido, los clásicos. And that caught my attention, you know, and Wowie was wanting to play the sax. And órale, Wowie, let's play, you know.
And he's related to you too.
He's our cousin, primo hermano, yeah.
Wow, so Wowie got in there as well. How many were in the Royal Jesters when you were playing with them, Gibby?
Oh man, parecía un baseball team. Let me see.
Army.
Y si les pagaban 12?
Four horn players, 3 vocalists, and a rhythm section. So how many guys was that? 8. There was about 12 guys.
¿Y todos iban en el mismo carro para el gig o qué?
Well, you had the van and then you had the equipment truck.
Yeah.
So a couple of guys would go in the equipment truck because they got paid extra to kind of set up. But in the van, there was a good, 9, 10 people in there.
Sometimes I look at the bandas today, you know, las bandas, no caben en el stage, vato. And I'm thinking about the good old orchestra days, you know.
Yeah, but those banda guys may make a lot more money than we do. Right?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, how much do these guys make?
Back then, musicians were younger. They wanted to do this. They were having fun, you know. Doing that now, you know, people a little older, you know, it's a little, you know, constricting to be in a van with a bunch of people. But back then, you know, it was a party. Yeah. It was fun.
Girls and partying and
it's a whole different scene.
Getting paid a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And doing what you love to do. And feeding off the energy of the audience.
Yes, yeah.
And the response. I mean, I think, you know.
We never looked at it that way about we were crowded in the van. No, it was fun.
It was fun,
traveled.
It was adventurous.
Yes.
This was an adventure. That's what I mean.
All the way to Florida and Chicago and California in a van. Think about that with 10 guys. It was. But
try doing it now.
Yeah.
No, hey, hazte para allá, no.
Really?
No.
Cada quien quiere su voz y la chingada.
Sí, cada quien quiere su van.
Man, that's great. Now, traveling across the United States of America back then was because sometimes I wonder about it because I think some of the greatest. Songwriting was during the 70s, you know, some of that Bob Seger stuff, some of that Hotel California, Eagles. And I would say, and I was talking to Bobby Pulido about this, there was no Wi-Fi or cell phones on the road. So on the bus, I mean, you had to wait till you get to a landline to call a loved one, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
And so, you know, it'd be few and far between. So what do you do on the bus? You ride, I guess, right? Is that what you think?
I don't know. They party over here.
Yeah.
On this side, yeah. They want to party que riding.
Yeah.
There's a lot more partying going on.
Yeah. So then you had quite the Royal Jesters. You started with them, and what year was that?
That was in 74. I remember my 19th birthday, I was playing with them, and then, you know.
So you were 19 in 74?
No, in 75. I started with them. I started with them in January of 75. Because February is my birthday, and I remember we were at rehearsal, and it was my birthday, and they were all riding me because, you know, whatever.
So you were a rock and roller, and then you went into that field. How did that happen, man?
Well, like I said, you know, making a bunch of noise in the garage. I had these neighbors. They had a band, a local band, and the guys hearing me make a bunch of racket, they walk over and say, "Hey, man, you play guitar?" Well, yeah, we have a band, and I would go see them practice, and they played, you know, Sonny and Little Joe and stuff like that. And they said, "Hey, you got to quit playing that rock stuff, man, and get into this stuff, man. This is your culture, man. You know, you need to play these, you know, learn how to play these polquitas and you know, cumbias." And I was a little hesitant, but I mean, I did, and look what happened. So there.
Was there a difference between learning rock guitar and transitioning into Tejano? Was it simple? Was it a lot easier Tejano than it was the rock and roll?
Getting into Tejano music, you know, there's this little formula where you're talking about primera, segunda, tercera. You know, a melody in this genre of music usually follows a little sequence there of chord progressions and
the music theory is it called? Right?
Well, you know, just learning that, right, Dave? You hearing the melody and knowing where to change. I didn't know that, so I learned that quickly. But as time passed, I was playing with these other musicians that went to North Texas State. They were more schooled musicians, and they really, you know, pushed me to learn how to read and write music, man. You know, so I did that back then there too, and today, that's a big part of what it is I do.
Yeah, I
working
was
in the
watching
studio,
that.
and you're putting music together. You kind of write it out. In my particular situation, if I'm working on something, you get a song and you sketch it out, and you come up with a melody, and you write out the part, and the keyboard player comes in and he reads the part and he plays it, and voila, there you go, man. So if I had not learned that back then, I don't know what I'd be doing now, But that's another story where I started getting into the studio stuff. And
well, we'll get to that. Well, I was going to ask you right now about songwriting. If you've written some songs that they've recorded?
I mean, I've done some stuff here in the past, but I'm not a really prolific songwriter per se, man.
Did you ever get any songs on the radio that were?
That song, "Amor y Besos" of Rams, was the most notable one.
Yes. Great song.
Yeah.
Okay. And any other songs?
No, not particularly. That one made the most noise for me. And I should have continued, man, but who's got the time?
Yeah. And what about you, David? Any of the songs that you've ever recorded, have they been specifically written by you and your brothers and your family or somebody in the band or anything?
Yeah, back 70, 77, 78, when we first started recording, I think it was maybe the second probably the third or fourth album that we recorded with Hacienda Records. There was this one song that I wrote, se llama Las Canciones que te canto, and it was the title of that album, Las Canciones que te canto. I wrote that song, and then after that I wrote maybe 2 or 3 more, Tu Nuevo Querer y De Nuevo Otra Vez.
And did they get airplay?
They got airplay because...
Why don't you re-record them, dude?
I know. Because they laugh at me, but my band,
okay.
I wrote this song. Oh, really? Why?
Why?
Well, the thing about it is, back then, I mean, how has the royalty system changed since this internet stuff has come around?
I mean, there's how much time you got? That's a whole other story there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we
regarding
got time.
Like this CD sales and like that, songwriters.
Yeah.
You would typically get paid, off the sales of the CD.
Yeah,
and the internet killed that, man.
Yeah.
So songwriters today, and they'll say it's not worth it, to write these songs. You're not going to get any
money, any revenue, anything.
And on the streaming side, you get, 0.0003 cents for every play.
Do you agree with that? I mean, do you think that the streaming services are ripping off songwriters?
I mean, agree or not, that's just the way it is. Yeah. So unless you have a big mega hit with 1 billion
streams,
yes, you're going to make some significant monies. But in our genre, in our world, you get 10,000 spins, you made 3 cents.
And then radio, it used to be with radio, you'd get royalties as well with every spin you'd get on the radio.
That's terrestrial radio.
Yeah, terrestrial radio.
And now with internet radio, like that stuff you're playing right there, are they going to get paid for that?
Well, I'm sure whoever, because this is you do get a streaming royalty out of it if you're the songwriter of this song. But since you recorded it, there's nothing that comes to you then, huh?
No.
Wow,
you know what?
Dude.
They changed that now, but now we got to start from here. And if that law was in from 40 years ago, man, I'd be a millionaire, man.
Right.
But they just passed a law now that the people that record the producer, they also get royalties. Of course, the artist has to agree to pay out of that, but a law has been enacted here as of late to include producers and engineers in what it is collecting royalties.
But it's a little too much too late then, because
for the next generation that comes along, and there again in our genre, we're not selling the big numbers to where you have a significant cash flow in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Our days of selling physical product of CD, that's where that's where
the money was.
That's where the money came from, man.
For the songwriters.
And the whole dynamics of the whole music industry has changed, and Tejano music is at the bottom of this big, industry, what is called music, man. Of course, the rock and all that other stuff, pop music,
the rap, and
all that, and then down here it's Tejano world,
Yeah.
We're selling tens of thousands of CDs, if that many, and these guys are selling millions of CDs.
It turned back into the early 80s.
Numbers game there,
right? I mean, because the most successful time for Los Musicales had to be the 90s, right?
Pretty much, yes.
What happened? I mean, during the 80s, you had a great run with Ram and Emilio.
Right.
And the music, I think, is some of the best. It's great, the stuff you did with Emilio. And then getting into the 90s, Jay Perez comes in. Right? And then all these labels came in. I mean, Gibby, how was it And David, how was it when those labels took interest in San Antonio, man?
That's a whole other story, man. How much time you got?
Hey, well, in a nutshell, I mean, there's so many, we can all talk about this for a long time, but we can also briefly talk about how it changed you all's lives, man.
Getting a check.
Did you hear
Just
that?
getting a check.
The silence is deafening.
The silence.
Did you hear that? You asked the question and crickets.
There it is. There it is.
I tell you what, when those companies came in, CBS, Sony, EMI, Arista, BMG, those big labels came and they got involved with Tejano music. There was more distribution. They had, they were able to pay some advance royalties to the artists, and that's where
Did they make their money back, Gibby?
Who's that?
Those labels?
Yes, they did. Gosh,
Definitely.
yeah. And man, I don't know. It gets complicated. It gets complicated. Yeah. So the monies that these companies made, they did not reinvest it into Tejano music. They made money here and they did other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
They invested it in other areas.
Yes. So and then at a certain point in time, these companies were union signatories. That's why I say, how much time you got here?
Yeah.
They should have been paying union scale to the musicians that were recording, and Texas is a right to work state. So when they gave this, upfront money to artist A, B, C, or D, whatever, there's your recording fund, and you're going to bring me an album. Out of that recording fund, they could have been paying the musicians union scale for that, but they didn't. They didn't have to. They weren't breaking any laws.
Yeah, and in the other states they did.
Yes, and
California.
that's why in New York and California, where the industry is, yes, they abide by those.
So do you think that was part of the reason they came and started jumping in on this scene here in Texas, since they saw a good opportunity for a big money grab in there, or what?
Well, yeah. So in order for that to work, the record company has to match that, and they have to pay benefits long term.
Yeah.
For these CDs or albums projects that were getting recorded, right? As a studio musician, you get paid. They would still be getting paid today for that work they did 30 years ago, man.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Wow.
But since those contracts those recording contracts, were never signed, the company looked the other way. They got their music, their product, and they sold it, and they made a lot of money.
Si no preguntan, ¿para qué lo mencionamos, verdad?
So the day that the union confronted them, and this was going on for years, finally they had, they were able to meet with the heads of these companies, and I'm condensing the whole story here big time, but they got them, the companies finally agreed, says, you know what, man? We're going to follow you. We're going to play your game. Yes, we know we should have been paying. There's no law says that we have to, but we will do that. However, we're going to do it like this. Every new artist we sign up, we're going to do that. And the union guy said, hey, we won. Yes. Oh, no. Those guys, they never signed up another group. They left town.
Yeah, the rest of the guys,
they left town.
They would have said, we'll grandfather everybody else in, and they weren't about to do that.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
So that that's when they left town.
Wow, man.
And
the music industry is really, really shady, dude. I mean, big time, right? Yeah. I mean, for you, David Lee, how big was that deal you guys got? You were with Capitol Records?
Capitol Records, yes.
And Capitol Records, who else was on Capitol Records besides David Lee Garza y los musicales?
Gary
Hobbs,
Intocable, and then Bobby came in later years.
Back then it was Laura Canales, Latin Breed. Shoot, I don't remember. And think back, man. Who else was there?
So they had a pretty good bunch. Capitol EMI had Maz, and they all had Selena, and they had Emilio, right? Capitol, and then Sony had Fama, Mafia. They had the Houston area.
And then towards the end, we left Capitol. Our contract was over, and Sony said, "Come on over here."
When did you sign with Capitol? What year was that?
What year? Had to be like
89,
90. Yeah.
And was Jay had just joined the band?
Right. We did one album with Oscar G, and then I believe Jay Pettis the next two.
Right away, what was interesting with me, Gibby, is like I would notice the production level of the albums, from one to the other. Some sounded more powerful than others, production wise. With the strength of the production. And I noticed that when you went into the Jay Perez era, the sound, the production, it was just so you had more money to be able to invest into the album, or how did that work?
No, it was just song selection y el ánimo que teníamos, ¿verdad, Gibby? Because
it was
we were the same musicians.
David always has this little knack for picking good songs, but the way Jay was able to deliver it, he got the band to he brought out the band.
Yeah. So I guess Emilio was a little softer, and then Ram was a little softer, and then when Jay came in with that strength of the voice,
and it was just nobody's better than anybody else. It was just different,
and then we just good songs came in. When the Jay era, están cayendo canciones y esa canción, and they would all fit Jay Perez. And they would all we would mold around Jay Perez or whatever. And they were just good songs.
Yeah. Mujer Liberada, man. I was just listening to that song, Con el Tiempo.
Amor de Madrugada.
Yeah, Amor de Madrugada, a great song, man, también. So when you signed with Capitol, you recorded that album with Jay. And when you
Con el Tiempo and then 1392.
When you got Jay into the band, did you sign a specific 2-album contract? Or was it like, what kind of deals did you make with him?
With Jay?
Yeah, with the singers. What kind of deals would you?
No, it was just take it a year at a time, an album at a time.
Oh, okay.
It was no contract. I never had a contract with anybody.
No, so era pura palabra.
Pura palabra, yeah.
Hey, you want to be in the band? Let's record an album. Let's do it. And
then it got to the point where they said, I can do this on my own. So.
Yeah.
So voló la paloma.
I would imagine, because Jay had started with the first time I ever saw Jay was singing in the band for the Tejano Music Awards.
So, well, there's another story.
You were the one that was running that show, right? That band, or no?
I met Jay at the studio where I was working at. I started in 1980 with this guy Manny Guerra here in town. He had a studio. He's been doing that, for a while.
Manny Records, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And this guy owned the studio, and I used to be like a studio musician there, and he was busy. He said, "Can you do this?" And I said, "I think so." He said, "Just come and watch what I'm doing, and if you have any questions, ask me." So I jumped in that driver's seat there, and he would stay home, and I would record the bands. But anyway.
Hey, but that was good for you, because you got to learn a lot.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
This small local group came in to record, and Jay played drums. He was playing drums with the band. And in those times, the band would come in the evening, and they'd record a couple of songs. And by midnight or whatever, you're doing vocals. And the leader of the band was a vocalist, and he was having, some difficulties. He was late, and he was singing his track, and Jay's sitting over here next to me, and he's singing it. And I told the guy, "Hey, just let this guy sing the song." And the guy said, "No, man, F that, it's my band." Okay, man. So that's where I kind of met Jay. He was a drummer. I said, "What do you do?" "Well, I play drums. I don't even have a drum set. They belong to the band, man." "Oh, but I want to sing." "Well, hang in there, dude, golly." And a couple of years later, I did another recording with him, and I was playing with Latin Breed. We were playing here at a club here locally, and a couple of years passed, and we needed a vocalist, and his name came up, and I said, "Yeah, that guy certainly can do the gig, man." We were looking for somebody, but it never dawned on me to call him. He showed up, and when I saw him, "Hey, man, yes, you got the gig, dude." He came in, and he nailed it, and he sang with us for a couple of years.
Breaking all the rules?
Well, yeah, we wanted to record, but at that time, that the Tejano Awards were going on, and the leader of the band, Gibby Escobedo, he was involved in all of this, and I can, understandably, the band was not, I don't want to say his priority. He was doing other things. He created that whole thing, The band was over here, and we wanted to record. He didn't. He was trying to juggle these things here, and the band was getting a little frustrated. Jay himself, so. He left the band and he went with Ram, right? He was singing with Ram for a while. Right? Yeah, man.
See? But we need to back up just a little bit, because talking about Jay, Gibby Escobedo called me one day and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a vocalist. They need a lead vocalist for the Latin corner, right? For Latin Breed." And I said, "Man, I don't know anybody." And while we happened to be there, Oscar said, "Hey, there's this guy plays drums with Misterio Band." Yeah. And dijo, "That guy sings good, man." So, ¿cómo se llama? Was Jesse Perez. Le dije a Gibby Escobedo, "Hey, Jesse Perez, blah, blah, blah." And that's when he went to the Latin corner.
Yeah, so Gibby asked me, "Do you know this guy, Jesse?" "Oh, yeah, I know that guy, man. I just, But anyway, so I think I called Jay because I knew him. I said, hey, dude, these guys, you want to come by? Yeah, oh, yeah. So he came by, and I remember the first gig, he had the words here, and the music fell, the thing fell on the dance floor, and he was so embarrassed. He turned around and looked at me, and I said, no, just keep going. But after the gig, he said, dude, I was going to walk out. That's it. I can't do this, man.
Yeah.
He was, but it's no, hang in there, dude. And look, we.
Yeah, he became one of the most prolific singers in the industry.
We used to hang out we used to hang out together, and we'd be hearing all this R&B music, and I was telling Jay, look, we need to incorporate this over here. You get it, man? You hear how Luther's singing this, or this guy's singing this, James Ingram? Yeah. Listen to that. Now use those licks over here in Tejano world, and there, look.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
You had to have a certain taste for his music. I mean, because Jay, there's some musicians and some artists in the Tejano industry that the musician community embraces, and then there's that one where the entire fan base embraces, a bigger, larger people that like
somebody
the
like
simple.
Jay. He has it in him, man. You can't teach that. You kind of have it in you, man.
Yeah,
you have that groove in you, man.
Fusion.
And some people try to copy it, and you can't copy it. You got to feel it. Oh, yeah. I see what you're doing. You're trying to copy the other guy, but that's not something you can. It just comes out naturally.
Well, like I said, I saw Jay singing for the band, the Tejano Music Awards band, and then all of a sudden, this Breaking All the Rules album comes out with Latin Breed. And I'm like totally blown away. I had just started in radio. It was like 1989 or 1988.
So while he's singing with Ram, Adalberto came back with the band, right? Mm-hmm. And we started working on that album. Mm. But for whatever reason, Adalberto went back to Tucson, and we were stuck without a vocalist. So I called Jay and said, hey, you know what, dude? We're finally working on this album, man. Why don't you come back over here? And so he came back to the band, and I produced that record. And we wanted to do a couple of R&B songs on there. So I looked for these songs, and I called Bob Gagarza, and together we co-produced those 2 tracks there. But that album, it took years to do. That Ay Mujer, and I forgot what other songs. And then we had recorded.
Oh, the reunion medley and Don Luis El Tejano.
Yeah, but I'm talking about that. It was Ay Mujer, and we had recorded that like twice before, years earlier with other artists, but we never released it. And then we recorded it on that album. And the Don Luis song and the Que Chulos Ojos and No Naciste, that Adalberto sang those tracks, but we took his voice off and put Jay's.
Who would you have rather had, Jay or Adalberto on there? Who do you think?
It's hard to say, man. Both guys are just as good as the next guy. They're
well, Adalberto ended up coming out with his own albums as well.
Right.
And he had a very strong voice.
Yeah.
But it never really caught on too much, did it, man? Right? As far as mainstream. We were playing, I think it was a cover that he did, but it escapes my mind. But Adalberto, when I met him, man, great guy, and the music was, very strong and powerful and precise, and his vocal ability was great as well. So
I will say this, and if they hear it, whatever, man. But Jay, he's got that charismatic thing about him, man. He'll capture the crowd and blah 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 blah. And, he'll move the crowd. He'll work the crowd. And Adalberto, there's a great singer, but it takes a little bit more than that, bro. You got to be able to kind of connect with the people and feed off of them and like that. So it takes more than just being a good vocalist, man.
It's becoming a well-rounded entertainer, right?
Yeah,
is that what it is, or what?
Ram's real good about getting up there and working the crowd, man.
Yeah, I remember seeing Adalberto with Latin Breed, and they opened up.
Why?
Roberto Pulido Los Clásicos and the Latin Breed with Adalberto, and Adalberto would just stand there, man, sing and look down. He wouldn't even look at. And Roberto, my compadre Pulido, got on his case, man, when he got off. You need to look at the people. You need to, habla con la gente. Pulido.
He was shy.
The way he talks, he was very shy, man.
So that answers your question.
Wow. So Jay was the man. Right, for that. And then after Latin Breed, then is everything okay?
Oh.
Okay. And then after Latin Breed, he ends up with you.
Yeah, what's weird, we approached Jay, right before, he had just recorded that album with Gibby, Breaking the Rules. And we needed a vocalist. That's when Emilio left. And I said, well, let's get that guy that Wowie said, and we talked to Jay, and Jay told us, I just recorded an album with the Latin Breed.
So listen, that other album, what's it called? The other Latin Breed album after that is Born to Play.
Born to Play.
That was the follow-up to Breaking the Rules, right?
Right.
And Jay had already sang those tracks. I have them there somewhere, man. But you know, he decided to move on with David. You know, cool. So we needed another vocalist now to sing those tracks, and that's where the Roger guy came in, and he sang that Born to Play record. But that was all for Jay. You know, he had already sang some of those tracks there, man, on that album.
So when we asked Jay to come with us, you know, man, I just recorded with Latin Breed, man. We're gonna take off. We're gonna go on the road and this and doing this and that, Breaking the Rules, man. And it was a great album. And then se pasó como un año, I guess, you know. Not much happened. Like Gibby said, you know, Gibby Escobedo was busy with the Tejano Music Awards and doing this and doing that. And I guess Jay got kind of frustrated, and he calls us, hey, I'm ready, man. I'm ready to go with y'all.
Yeah. And
we had Oscar G with us, and it's a funny story. We were playing in Richmond, Texas, and Oscar G was singing with us, right? And pues nosotros ya acá...
Ojo de vidrio.
Ojo de vidrio. Yeah. And, you know, Jay Perez, he wants to come in with us, man. So we're going to give him a chance, man. This is a guy we wanted before Oscar G, right?
Yeah.
So what happens, this friend of ours, que en paz descanse, Rudy Rodriguez, fue le dijo a Oscar G, hey, man, it was nice knowing you. Y le hace a Oscar G, pues, what are you talking about? Dijo, no, pues I heard this is your last night. Porque Jay Perez va a comenzar con los musicales. Oh, man. Y me habla Oscar, can I talk to you outside? Dije, yeah, during the break. Y dijo, pues esto vino y me dijeron que ya me están despidiendo, blah, blah, blah. Well, Oscar, la mera verdad, we're going to talk to you after tonight's gig, you know, and tell you know that you know, we had offered the gig to Jay Perez, but at the time he was Latin Breed. He grabó su álbum allá, now he wants to come with us. Y la pensó un ratito, Oscar, you know, and dijo, no, you know what, I mean, I'm going to be a man about it, you know, I'm going to finish out the night. Dijo, anybody else would have said, you know what, I just watch her, you know, I'm out of here, you know. Quiere dejar Jay Perez o que acabe la noche. We're over there in Richmond, Rosenberg, you know, playing over there. Y dijo, no, my word is my word. You know, voy a acabar la noche. And he got back on there, and he said on the microphone, I want to thank the Garzas, you know, David and Tony.
Well, that was awesome, bro.
Because, you know, they gave me the opportunity to sing with them. You know, I've been with them almost 2 years, and we recorded 2 albums, but I wish them the best of luck, blah, blah, blah. And, I heard the rumor tonight, blah, blah, blah. Dijo que Jay Perez is coming with them. And everybody was like, who's Jay Perez? You know, they didn't snap, you know, right away because it was the Latin Breed singer. So so that's how that happened, man. And
well, man, I mean, and that happens a lot in the music industry, right? I mean, a lot of people that are que despiden, they learn through third parties and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I've been in the music business for a while, and in bands, and you know, you end up finding out about the information going on in your band out in the street, and and then you're like, what the hell's going on? And then there's, because I guess musicians and artists don't like confrontation or anything like that, or giving somebody bad news. You know, it's kind of tough. And then you were
2 week notice. Nobody. It's unheard of in our industry.
Yeah, and if you would if you would have said anything, you know, it might have affected his performance that day. But you know what? Kudos to Oscar G, man, for being a professional about it.
Exactly.
And that's one of the albums that's pretty much like overlooked out of all the David Lee Garza albums. Is that one of them?
Yeah, well, the other one, the first one is my album. It's like the same story like Gibby had. Emilio had already started recording that album. And then Emilio left and to do his own thing. And
with the Con el Tiempo? Oh, no.
No, my album.
That's right.
My album.
That's right. That's
so
right.
Emilio that was right after Tour 88. Tour 88 was the last one Emilio did. And we started recording this other one, my album. And he had already done vocals on most of the songs. And then Oscar G came in. I said, well, let's take off Emilio's voice. Yeah, Gibby, take off. Let's get this guy in there, you know. And he did my album. And then we did El Que Más Te Ha Querido. And that was the first album on Sony Records.
And that was one of the more popular songs off that album besides Ojo de Vidrio, right? El Que Más Te Ha Querido?
Yeah. Well, it was on Capitol, on Sony. Capitol EMI.
Yeah, because I was just going to say that because you went to Sony after Capitol.
Yeah, after that, yes.
Yeah. And so, would you say that Jay joining David Lee was kind of like what put him on the platform of like being recognized by many more people in the music industry?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so the deal with Capitol, bro, I mean, was that a pretty big chunk of cash, man?
Well, at the time, of course. At the time, nobody.
Yeah, I mean, because
I
mean,
it was. I mean, going from nothing. I mean,
Were we talking about millions or what?
No.
Thousands
and thousands. We're talking about thousands and thousands. No, I mean going from paying to record. Our first record that we recorded at Hacienda, we went and paid to have an 8-track tape made, and it was just an 8-track and a single. And then somebody starts playing our music at KBOP in Pleasanton, a local station. And, how did you get that song? Cuatro Caminos. I mean, you can't play an 8-track tape on the radio station. Pensé yo, ¿verdad? Dijo, oh, it's an album. Dijo, what do you mean it's an album? And we're only about 9 miles away from there, so I get in my car and I haul ass, man, to KBOP. What? And it's an album. They took one of our pictures. It's a promo picture in front of the KP Corral in Poteet, and with Ram singing all the songs, but like I said, it was an 8-track tape, and they made an album out of it. And we said, and I called them, hey, what's this? He didn't even call me and tell me, hey, we're going to do. And they said, no, we got a real good response from Cuatro Caminos as a single that we decided to make it an album.
Wow.
And I said, well, okay. And they said, and the next time you come record, you don't have to pay. So that way we wouldn't pay to record, but then, like you say, Capitol came in and they paid us to record it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow,
that was a different ballgame.
Something different,
yeah,
man.
Very much.
And the 90s was just like incredible, no, Gibby?
Yeah, but this was still 80s. I remember that first album I did with you guys. It was with Emilio. What was that first album we did at Manny's? And Emilio would come on the bike.
In a bicycle.
He worked at a pharmacy down the street. Yeah, and he would come to the studio on a bike with that white uniform on.
Uniform to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what album was that?
It was the first one with Kata Records, Gilbert.
Yeah.
Kata Records. Yeah. It had to be like, oh man, I know some of the songs that were on there, Corazón and those songs, but
Déjame quererte.
Déjame quererte.
Déjame quererte. Good song, man.
That came later. Yeah.
And so then Jay leaves the band, right, after the second album?
After the second album.
Did you find out through a third party, or did he come and tell you?
No, we had to kind of tell him part ways, yeah. Because, and he'll probably laugh when I say the story, but he got married. Remember, he got married like during the week, right there at Brack.
I remember that.
Yeah, okay.
I was there.
And we were gonna go do the Johnny Canales on a Thursday, in Corpus. And I told him, AJ, well, you're getting married on a Wednesday or whatever. Tomorrow we got the Johnny Canales show. I ain't gonna go do that. What do you mean? I mean, I know you got married. I mean, honeymoon. Okay, come on. Dijo, no, man, I ain't gonna do that show, man. That's
man.
That's what he said. Yeah. I said, man, and I said, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Okay, well, that went. Are you not gonna go? No, I ain't gonna go, man. So we go to the show, and what are we gonna do? Well, it's pantomime, so I'll just fake. I'll do like I'm singing.
Yeah.
And it was recorded like that, and people were like, they could hear Jay Perez's voice, and I'm over here singing, and they were like,
Will David cante igualito que Jay, carnal?
So after that show, I told Joey, my manager, you know what? Tell Jay, just forget it, dude. We're gonna look for somebody else.
Yeah.
We have, and I
but I mean,
en todo,
like that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
Exactly.
So it was kind of like building up to that moment.
Yeah, it was. So he went off on his own, and he did great. And of course, lo mexicanos nosotros agarramos poquito coraje. I don't want to talk to you. Ya se pasó un año, 2 años. Hey, ahora, we're get along.
Because you never know. I mean, everything happens for a reason.
Everything does.
Everything happens for a reason.
Right.
And you found a singer that, put you through some pretty damn good hits, man, también. The first time I ever heard of Marcos Orozco, he was with Los Fabulosos Cuatro. And he recorded a great album with them, man.
He was a guitar player.
Yeah, and the singing on that album was great. Embrujado, el embrujado. Por ahí se dicen que ando embrujado or something.
Eso todo el bolote que ando embrujado.
Yeah, and so how did that happen once you let Jay? So you let Jay go, and you didn't have a plan B?
No, we didn't have really a plan B. I don't know who we picked. We picked somebody up to replace him. His name was Mark. He passed away yet. And within what's weird, he was singing with us. We go play in Grand Prairie, and the Fabulosos Cuatro opened up for us. And when we were playing, what does my dad do? Goes and talks to Marcos Orozco and tells him, hey, ¿no quiere cantar con nosotros? Dije, Dad, what are you doing? Well, porque my dad told me, hablé con el chaval, le dije, canta bien bonito. Le dije, no, sí canta bien bonito, you know. They got a good thing going on. Los Fabulosos got a good thing going on, you know. Te ando siguiendo los pasos and, you know, they started getting airplay and everything. And my dad said, pues yo le dije, hey, si te cansas de cantar allá con esos, ven y habla con nosotros, we'll give you a job. Le dije, Dad, what are you doing? This you know, taking somebody out of another band. That's not the way we work, Dad. Well, pues yo ya le dije. You know, my dad, you know, ya le dije. Yeah. Okay, so no, I mean, it turns out like kind of like a Jay Perez story there that they weren't doing much after they recorded, and he came looking for us. You know, he came to the ranch. You know, digo, ya estoy listo para entrar con ustedes. So that's when he came in the band.
Wow,
that's how he came in the band.
And then you went in and recorded the albums. You had a lot of great hits with him, right?
Yeah, we did. And the first album, I had the songs. You know, songwriters te mandan songs left and right. But then after that, he said, I write songs. They go, oh, you do? And he pulls out a book, man, and he starts singing all these songs, you know. Mm-hmm. Wow, no, that's a good song. And we didn't record a lot of them, but we included like 2 or 3 on an album. Mm-hmm. And then got from different songwriters because I told him, I don't want everything to sound the same. So, no, pero más y más, you know, he started bringing out more songs and real good songs, man.
He did a lot of good songs on his own también.
On his own,
when he went on solo.
Right.
But what were the best tracks that you felt you recorded in the 90s, Gibby, produced as far as Tejano artists?
I don't know. There's so many, man.
I mean, because you have a
music is so, you know, and I'm nobody here, but I've done so much stuff.
But there's got to be some memorable ones, you know? I mean, what are your favorite tracks that you recorded?
Everything from Latin Breed, you know, to Mas, to Little Joe, to Musicales, to Límite, to Intocable, to, I don't know, it could go on and on here, man. I'm very blessed. I've done a lot of stuff here, man.
How many Grammys you got, bro?
I
saw a case full of them over there.
There's 13 trophies and there's 2 certificates. So, I don't know. I've done a lot of stuff.
You do the math.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. And so then you got Marcos Orozco, and he stuck with you for a while, ¿verdad?
A good while, yeah. He was with us for like 6 years, maybe longer. We had a good run, man.
Was that one like from 94 to 2000?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
And then after that,
who came in? Tanto, you put me on the spot.
Man, you've had quite a few.
Ben Ozuna?
Ben Ozuna.
You forgot about him. What are you?
No. Pero when did Markel? Markel came in.
Markel, right?
Mark Ledesma. And Mark was with us 6-7 years, man.
Yeah.
We didn't record 7 albums, you know, because at the time it started slowing down, everything started, but we kept on working pretty much.
When was it? What year was it that the record labels decided to fly off and let us
that was
fend for ourselves on here again?
95, 96, maybe 97, somewhere there.
You think?
I got into this place here in 95, and I remember we were having meetings here with the union and stuff, and they were enlightening us on all this, how this system should have been working, and it wasn't. And anyway, I was already here, so it must have been 96 or 97.
How was it? I mean, there's obviously, there aren't any labels anymore, are there, or are there?
Well, there's, you know, indie labels is what they call them, you know.
What do they got to offer?
Well, it's difficult nowadays because, like I said, you know, you're not selling a whole lot of physical product, you know. So, but in my mind, you know, it's good to have, you know, everybody's kind of running nilly-willy in all kinds of directions, man. But if you have somebody kind of holding the reins on that horse there, man, and just go in this direction, you know, it could work. You know, I was doing something here the past couple of years with a couple of people here, but, you know, that kind of fizzled out there, you know. All kinds of reasons for that. But yes, I think, you know, having a label of sort and you know, having some controlled, you know, marketing, you know, and it would help the genre, even if there's some kind of quality control over what it is we're doing. And nowadays, you know, again with the whole home studio thing and stuff like that. I mean, they were talking about that a while ago. You know, it's you know, I feel, and I'm certainly biased because this is what I do, man. But you know, people just, you know, and the whole money thing comes to mind there. You know, they don't have money to record, so they're doing it at home, and you hear what they're doing, and it sounds like very much like a demo there. You know, David has a band. You hear the band, but nowadays, you know, there is no band. This artist here, whoever it is, they have a day job, understandably, I can respect that. You make money, at your job. And you want to be an artist, so you don't have a band. You just recorded one song at home, and there now you want to be vocalist of the year, and you haven't really paid any dues or done any. You don't even have a band. Where do you play at? Well, we played at Fanfare 2 years ago, and then before that, that's the only gig we've done. Okay. And this,
but I've got all these. But I've got all these YouTube views.
Yeah. So I don't know. Don't get me going here, man. On and on.
How much time do you have?
Bring him some water. Ponle una toallita mojada arriba del forehead. Yeah, no, because I was, I walk into a studio like this, and this is what I used to walk into when I used to have Puro Tejano back in the day to interview artists and stuff. I mean, if you remember that, David, and then I'm still in the radio business. I'm in the rock radio industry now, and they've been affected as bad as everybody else. I mean, just the music industry in general, to the point where the only type of revenue coming into an artist is through gigs.
Yeah. Right now there ain't no gigs.
Yeah, there ain't no gigs because of coronavirus and all that. And then the money, and what the artist has to do nowadays is they have to kind of, budget that money to, all right, take care of payroll. We got to leave a little bit over here because we got to get back into the studio, record a song, and do your own thing. In a sense, it's good for just any band that, they can kind of like do their own thing. But like you said, there's no direction, no guidance on there. Would you be able to go into a home studio and produce something with the quality of this studio?
And that depends on the guy doing it, okay? That, they have, programs now, that where you can record, right? They sell these everywhere, you can buy one. But it's the guy, it's like the accordion. You got this badass accordion, but the guy playing it, he don't know how to play, man. So it depends who's on this side of the console, who's doing the recording, okay?
That's why I'm asking.
In Grammy World, I go to these meetings and I meet with a lot of people from West Coast, East Coast, and people that do what I do, producer, engineer kind of platform there, right? And we have these discussions, and yes, it comes up that just because you can hit that record button doesn't mean you're an engineer. Anybody can do that. Here, get the dog over here. Look, he put his paw on. Hey, he's an engineer. He hit the record button. So that seems to be the mindset now. You hit record, and now you're the guy. It takes a lot more than that. The art of recording is getting lost. What do you mean by the art of recording? Well, back in the day, you were identified by your drum sound. And the drums, and listen to that album right there you're playing. Those drum sounds pretty good. Yeah, well, that guy, he set up the mics and he got that drum sound out of that guy, and it sounds good. Nowadays, no, you don't need that. The drums are in here. There's no drummer. It's a loop.
And you can put this effect instead of having to kind of coordinate the mics.
It gets better than that too. Yeah. So nowadays,
and if you sing off key, we've got a machine that'll put you in key.
So that being said, this athlete was taking steroids, so he was X'd out. Well, this singer's got a ton of auto-tune on his vocal, and they won an award. So what do you got to say about that?
It's crazy, yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Same thing. Let's see where that goes, because there's a lot of talk about that. About you don't even need to sing now. The auto-tune is going to fix it for you.
But is the industry right now healthy enough to sustain having a studio like this? I mean,
no.
No. I mean, the music, the revenue coming into studios.
Yeah. I've been doing this for a while, so I'm very blessed that I have, people that come back to me, and we keep making records. But as that becomes more and more, I want to say dominant, people just recording at home.
There's options now.
Yeah. And then the public, they really don't know. They're hearing what they hear there.
The naked ear isn't the same. Yeah. I mean, it's
so they don't hear the quality in what is a recording like this one here, or something that was made at home. They just know that they bought this thing for 99 cents on the. You got to download there, man. So somebody spending thousands of dollars on a recording, when nowadays you don't have to buy the whole album. You just buy one song for 99 cents. So I spent all these thousands of dollars on this recording. I can't sell the album. I'm just selling, a track for 99 cents. I got all these CDs that I sell at the gig, but good luck with that, right? So it's getting a little tough.
I mean, back in the 90s, Gibby, I mean, you'd have a schedule of artists coming in and nonstop. You probably slept in here, right? I mean, as much work as there was back then.
Yeah. And thank God I'm still busy. I'm still, here doing what it is I do. But yeah, it's I talk with other people, and it's really taking a hit.
Do you ever see this art form disappearing?
Yeah, at some point, it's gonna, things are gonna change in a big way. This whole concept of having what you call a brick and mortar building, right? You know what I mean by that, right? You have a studio. There's a window there. There's, nowadays.
The acoustic stuff.
Yeah, nowadays just with a little console like you got there, man. You're at home in your living room and you plug in the guitar there and you plug in your computer there and a drum loop and a bass and a mic. And there it is, and you didn't spend any money on it.
You were pretty intrigued with this little board that I have, this Rodecaster.
Yeah, I like the colors.
Yeah, you were asking like, what does it do? Does that do that? And then you were kind of pretty amazed with the quality of sound of the headphones and the microphone.
Very good. Yes, I was looking
at like you said, it's the microphone going in there. I mean, if I put a cheapy microphone, it'll probably sound crappy. That's why when you talk about producers and engineers, you get what you pay for, man. Yeah. You know what I mean, right? Yeah. Right. And David, you got a new singer, man. I was watching you guys perform on Facebook Live, dude, which is a lot of artists are doing that now.
Yes.
And just to make ends meet, and
that and just to stay in touch with the fans.
Yeah, and it was wonderful when I saw you do that in your kitchen with the and was your fiance? Was she the one that was recording you and giving you the questions? She was your producer.
She was the producer, kind of, sort of. Yeah, because I couldn't see. She had the phone the other way. Because I said, if you put it the other way, where I can read them. Then what told Michael Salgado tocando el acordeón left-handed. Yeah. So I said, no, you need to do it like that so I'm playing right-handed.
Te trastornas.
Me voy a perder todo. Yeah. So now she was trying to read the questions.
Yeah.
And they were asking, and my sister too. And my sister had, I told her, write them down and just bring them to me here. Pues tenía la sister, dijo, I write like chicken scratch. Dije, yeah. But dijo, ¿qué dice? Baton Rouge. No, que Rosenberg. Oh, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah. Tienen que poner el papel como un block away para leerlo, carnal, porque chica, ya no puedo ver, bro. But when I saw you in your kitchen, I mean, the intimacy of that, of just being able to go online on social media and see David Lee Garza sitting there with an accordion live, and then being asked to perform a song and then him going right into it there. I mean, I was just blown away with the perfection of the playing, bro. I was like, I had never. Well, the thing
I've been doing this a while.
Mira, carnal, neta, carnal, cuando vas a ver un grupo, there's a lot of dynamics that go with the band, right, that certain instruments tend to blend together and they kind of drown out really the perfection of the instrumentation sometimes. You know what I mean? So when I saw that and I saw you going into Hasta Cuando and stuff, and I'm like, wow, dude, it sounded freaking amazing. You know what I mean? And then I saw you with your band. You finally did one with your band, and I had never really paid attention to the singer, and what's different is when you're live in concert, it sounds a little different, right? So on social media, si la cagas o si estás out of tune or whatever, no hay auto tune ahí, ¿verdad? No hay auto tune en eso. He nailed those songs, dude.
That guy, por eso, yo creo solo se puso el cantante. Somebody named el cantante because the guy, I mean, no por nada, pero he's a young cat. He's a young guy, and he's from Robstown, Texas. Cesar Martinez, and first time Gibby, I brought him in here to record one song on one of our CDs, and he wasn't even the vocalist de los musicales. I just invited him to come sing one song, and I told him already, Gibby. Gibby was there on the control, and he started singing. Y le hace Gibby, and mira me dice, he couldn't hear us. He goes, this guy's good, but don't tell him.
I remember that. Yeah.
Don't tell him, man. This guy's good. And he's very good. And I was talking to James earlier. I mean, my dad would always say, mijo, búscate un cantante joven que sepa cantar canciones de Bernal, de Los Chachos, de all them old songs. Yeah, Dad, there's no kids that pay attention to that anymore. I mean, there's nobody around our age, when we're always looking for somebody younger to attract the younger crowd, and get the crowd going and this and that. Dije, ya no hay, Dad, ya no hay. Pues, en paz descanse, Dad today, June 13th, is his birthday. Today,
Wow.
my dad's birthday.
That is awesome, bro.
And I found this young guy, man. He was all of 23 years old when he came in, maybe 21.
Yeah.
Because he was barely drinking. Ahora parece una yoga sin fin.
Yeah.
You know?
We went and we took him to lunch. Remember when we first met him?
Yeah.
Why did we go to lunch with him? Just
to see if he wanted to come in the
he
band?
was with his dad. And,
No. It was his manager. I think
Oh,
it was like
his
a
manager?
manager, yeah. Or a guy that was going to back him up because he was going to start his own band. But when I offered him the gig, you know what, we're looking for somebody. And boom, he said, you know what, well, let me talk to this guy because he just bought me a whole sound system. And he was, bring him in, man. You know, ¿sabes qué? Cuando va a grabar, lo voy a llevar and we'll talk to him. No, and the guy was cool. He said, you know what, I don't want to stop him from progressing. You know, yeah, he was going to start a band, local band ahí, pero, man, if you can start with, sing with y'all, you know.
what did you do with the equipment?
He has a club, so he put it in his club.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, it didn't go to waste.
Y ahí está el first gig de los musicales.
Así es.
Yeah.
Pero, man, this guy is very talented. Cesar, you know, he's great vocalist, man, and he any song I tell him to learn, he'll learn it. You know, I mean, prendete esta, you know, there's.
Se guacha que es buena gente, bro.
Es buena onda,
O sea,
es buena
toda
onda.
madre.
Jay Perez likes him a lot.
Sí.
Jay Perez is, you know, they'll sing together on stage. Y Jay Perez se enoja. Jay Perez, God, how do you sing that, man? I couldn't sing that song. You know, there's some high songs there that they said Jay Perez. My better days, I couldn't even sing that. You know, how do you do that?
I was like amazed, and it was on Facebook, and it was live, and I was like, and you all were talking, and I caught it when you were barely talking and stuff, and then you all got to know a song, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the singer. I'm waiting for the. Holy moly, man!
Él canta. I mean, and Cesar, he sings like every day, and
Effortless.
And when all this coronavirus and everything, all this happened. Y paso ahí por mi cuarto, and I got my room that's full of accordions, right? Y nomás las miro, you know, I don't even pick one up, ni nada. But you know, and I don't play every day. I don't practice, and it's it's another story. It's a good break for me. Pero Cesar sings every day, so we did this live, Facebook Live. Y Cesar cantando effortlessly, right? Just cantando, belting out the songs. Y yo iba a cantar una segunda con él. ¿Sabes qué? Mejor no voy a cantar. I couldn't sing, man. Yeah, because I don't sing every day like this guy. This guy sings every day.
Llega con la garganta bien calientita todo el tiempo, bro.
Y yo no, ya estaba haciendo pollos y gritando.
Estaba saliendo un pulmón y la chica.
So, by the way, he's starting his own band.
Oh yeah. That's what the
That's what the
rule is. That's what the rule is.
Nowadays, I mean, you know, that was something that I was talking to a friend of mine in the rock industry. Back in the day, you had Led Zeppelin, Motley Crue, you had Guns N' Roses, and none of these bands and none of the members would be playing with other bands while they were with that band.
Yeah.
And now it's like something that's common.
Yeah.
You have all kinds of artists in a band, and then they end up making a super group with other bands, and it's all just to be on the road to make money. It's just got to be playing because, like you said, the streaming and all that stuff, it's not bringing any money in.
We did a gig with Jay in McAllen there one day. And you came up and sang A Whole Lot of Love with us. Do you remember that?
I think so, man.
Okay.
You were playing guitar at that
Yes.
time. That was a while back,
It
bro.
wasn't that long ago.
Was it Latin Breed or?
No, it was with Jay.
It had to
I
be in
forgot
the
name.
90s, bro. It had to be in the 90s.
Yes, it
no?
was in the 90s. He already had his band, and we were playing there.
Yeah, I remember going up there.
You remember that?
You need schooling,
Yes.
woman, I ain't fooling.
Yeah, we used to do stuff like that.
Yeah, and that came to you naturally, dude, right? You were a rocker at the beginning, bro.
The guy, Speedy, was a bass player, and he was a big rock fanatic. Still is. And yes,
Speedy, de la mafia, el que está con la mafia.
Yeah, well, he used to play with us, and I don't know, we just started the song, and you jumped up there and grabbed the mic, and I remember that. That's
Man, what great memories. Imagine if we would have had cell phones back then, dude.
Yes,
We'd have
definitely.
so much stuff on video, dude. Be crazy, man. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you opening up the studio for us, Gibby, and man, we wish you lots of luck. And
Maybe we do this again sometime.
yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, if you have if you're an artist or you have a band and you want to record in a professional studio with a Grammy Award-winning producer and engineer and musician, this is the guy to talk to, man. This is the guy.
But you have to have a real band.
You gotta have a real band.
A real band. No.
No puedes venir como Esteban Jordán y tocar todo.
Bueno, Esteban, that's an exception. Esteban could do that.
Yeah, man. You remember? Did you ever work with Steve Jordan? Did he
Yes.
ever record with you?
Yes, I recorded him here and there, Before he passed, he was visiting me, and
what an eccentric, no, is a guy?
yeah, he didn't like to take pictures.
No, he didn't. He didn't
But one of the last things he told me, hey, ayuda a mis hijos, man, help them out. So I did a record with them, with that label I was talking about there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, cumplí.
Yeah.
And his sons are still there, and I still kind of encourage them, man.
Sí.
But I told them, remember what your dad said? Yeah. So if you need anything, I'm here, man.
Ahí están in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. So I still kind of keep in touch with them.
Yeah. So where does anybody? Do you have a website or anything that people can get on? Just
VelasquezMusic.com.
VelasquezMusic.com. You check that out and find out all the great music that this guy has recorded, and of course the Grammys. I mean, there are countless Grammys. There must have been like 10 of them, right, in that little case over here. And
13.
And he's got one right behind him. And David Lee, huh?
It's a prop. They wanted to put it there. Yeah.
Yeah. Ese nomás es uno. David Lee, so what's up with those musicales after the COVID? I mean,
pues a ver si tengo banda. You know what's weird, and I tell my musicians, my band members, you know what? To me, this is the way I feel. There's going to be a lot of bands that are not going to come back because they get. So I'm going to look for a real job, or it's going to be tough.
Well,
it's going to be tough for us.
I saw Jaime de Anda in a work suit.
Right?
I mean, Jaime de Anda has never worked a job in his life, and he had to, make ends meet. And those Facebook lives are cool, but you really don't. I mean, it's
just like I said, to reach out to our fans and tell them, I'm still here. We're still here. And when this passes over, entonces we'll get back on the road si Dios quiere, primero Dios, pero I hope we still get a band.
Pues, las tocadas de hoy en día para los músicos, la música tejana son weekends, ahora, no es como más
weekends,
antes que era Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, carnal, ¿verdad?
No, ya más. Friday, Saturday, si acaso un Sunday.
Yeah.
No, hombre, ya te vas rayado.
En una church, a church festival, right, a full circle, right where we started, church festivals back on the church festival, man. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So if you want to get a hold of David Lee Garza, man, he's on social media as well. And I tell you what, if you hire this guy to perform at your event, this guy is just, he's got an amazing history, an amazing record of discography. I mean, this guy has been through it all since. And I never realized you had started in 68, 67, dude.
Well,
that's crazy.
68 is when we first started the band, but 78 was the first time we actually recorded an album. 78.
All right. So we're going to do a segment here. I had what we do on the show, Gibby and David Lee, is 5 questions.
All right.
And Gibby, I didn't realize you were going to be on, so I guess you're going to be off the hook with this one.
Oh, sure.
Or maybe I can think of some off the top of my head. Or maybe you want to help, David Lee answer some of these. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for 5 questions with hashtag PVT. All right. So let's do it. Best Musicales album.
1392.
Órale, 1392. Well, that's one of my favorites, dude. I mean, your brother's drumming on that album is amazing.
Con el tiempo and 1392, both of them, they're like neck and neck.
And then the beginning of the Hasta Cuando. Yeah, it's just like, what a way to start the song, right? Best Musicales singer.
Oh, man. All of them.
Nah.
I can't say.
Okay, which one of all of them? Which one?
They're all great, man.
The one you think was the
we had.
I mean, they're all great singers.
Yeah, they are great.
I know it's like putting you on the spot, and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, all that. But I mean, just say, throw one out, or do you want Gibby to answer that one?
We know who Gibby's going to say.
No, you know what? They're all good. It would be unfair to everybody to single anyone out.
Y'all are lucky I don't have a boo. All I have is this and then a boo. Right. But so, just off the top of the head, the top 2, whatever. I mean, you had Emilio, you had Ram, you had Pato, you had Jay, you had
Pato and Benuzuna.
Pato and Benuzuna. I had them both.
Yeah, he has for 2 names. There you go.
Yeah, no.
Maybe you can stay on the safe side and say Oscar G, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Okay, how about 3?
3.
How about top 3?
Come on, dude. So
top
you
four.
want to pass on that question?
Yeah, I'll pass on it. Everybody got their own opinion. And
all right. Well, whatever you all think.
yeah, whatever think goes the best.
All right.
I hear it all the time.
Gibby, what was your answer, Gibby?
For what?
For the best musicales singer.
Well, yeah, I said I honestly think it would be unfair to single anybody out because they all did well.
Yeah.
And they continue to do well. You know, Cesar is.
But which singer do you think fit that mold the best out of all of them?
Well, when you say that mold, David, you know, he has adjusted to every singer he has. And I'm not trying to kind of blow smoke here. The band adjusts to whoever's singing. Mm-hmm. The guy sings, okay, I got you, and they'll follow that, that style, that right. You know what I'm talking about, right? Right. Yeah. You don't want to make something too
from day one. From Ram Herrera, and then entró Emilio, and we adapted to him. He adapted to us. Y así ya los fuimos.
Which singer out of all the singers was the one that was a little more difficult to adopt to?
Oscar G. I mean, he wasn't hard to adapt to, but because he had to adapt to us, at that time, yeah. Mm-hmm. But because cuando Ram and Emilio, it was a learning process. We were learning. Ram was learning. Emilio was learning. We learned from Emilio.
I'll tell you what, if I can interject here, the most difficult thing now is, again, Cesar. He has this long list of singers that he has to sing their music.
Yeah.
And as time passed, like Ram and Emilio, they didn't have to do that. They just sang their stuff, and that was it.
Yeah.
Even Jay, he sang a little bit, but now the people that come in now, they got this long list of hits that David still needs to play, and they need to interpret that music on their own. And a lot of times, they sing it the way they feel it, right? The song in the background, for instance, somebody else is singing it. They're going to feel it the way they do. Just as another accordion player would play the same song and perhaps do something a little different, So
why?
But just
why?
Just that now Cesar there is in the hot seat, and he's got to cover all of that.
So would you like to say that Cesar is probably the greatest singer that Musicales have ever had?
You keep punching that button, man.
Cesar's a great singer, but maybe not the great, not yet,
Because he sang everybody else's songs. He's the greatest singer, right? Or no?
He's doing a good job.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, let's just say he's doing a great job. Yeah.
All right. This one could go for Gibby and you. The greatest accordion player ever besides yourself, David Lee.
I never considered myself the greatest. Never, ever. Yeah. My idol, Oscar Hernandez.
Oscar Hernandez, tough band. Guy's an amazing and what is it? Overrated or underrated? What is it? When they don't have enough, they don't get enough.
Underrated.
That's what it is. Yeah, one of the most underrated accordion players in the history of Tejano music. Yeah. What about you, Gibby?
The same thing. Like every musician, in this case, accordion players, everybody has their own style, their own voice. So there's not one that's better than the other one. Mm-hmm. But of course, you cannot that question. Steve Jordan. He was certainly he was the Jimi Hendrix of accordions, right? There are so many good accordion players, but I think everybody will point the finger at this guy, man. Today there's another friend of mine, Joel Guzman. He's a phenomenal accordion player, and
he is, man.
And so when you speak of people like that, Joel, what is his style? Well, he's certainly a great player, but he's able to emulate other styles too, to where some of these other accordion players, they're great, but that's all he can do, And no offense to anybody, Ramon Ayala just plays Ramon Ayala, and that's it. But now you got guys here that can play like Ramon, they can play like David, they can play like this guy. So damn, man. So there's some great players out there. So much to where what's your sound? You sound like this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. But you asked a question, I think probably Steve Jordan, right?
Steve Jordan?
And on a technical side. And feel, the guy played with all kinds of feel, man.
Yeah, because Steve Jordan added like echo and delay to the playing, and he would do like lead solos on it and stuff. And that was and then he'd fuse jazz and he'd fuse salsa, ran can run tecato run. What the hell was that? I mean, you know what I mean? It was way out there. And I think he's one of the accordion players that was really beloved by the national artists as well, because there's a video where he's on stage with Jerry Garcia and with Santana and Tito Puente.
Celia Cruz.
Yeah, he invited him on stage, man. So yeah, and I see some of those old videos of him with his kid playing the drummer. He was barely, because they have an album called "That's My Boy." Have you ever heard that one?
Yeah.
Está toda madre ese disco, bro. And I saw it's like, I guess it looks like it's a setting of Austin City Limits.
Yes.
Is that where it was?
I think so, yeah.
And they look like Santana, dude, like a Santana band. But really cool stuff.
You got congas, and he's playing them with the sticks.
Man, and playing them with confidence.
Exactly.
I mean, and the kid was, I don't know how old, man, but man, what a crazy thing, man.
The other guy is a Flaco Jimenez guy. You know, he's very well respected, and it certainly has his own style there, man.
Yeah, Flaco Jimenez, I saw him at the Conjunto Festival one time. I had never seen him. And after seeing him, I was like, holy moly. With one accordion, he just went through the whole show and just blew everybody away.
And then when you say accordion, those are the only people that we know. I mean, you look at YouTube now, remember, Dave, you'll find somebody from Germany or something and say, what the hell is he playing, man? So outside of this genre, there are many others, man.
Yeah.
It's just...
All right. There's another question, both of you. Okay, greatest Tejano song, man. Greatest Tejano song. And I know there's a lot of them, but that one song that really, like, you remember that you really liked a lot, man.
Still, but it has to be my song or just a song?
A song, what, your song, whatever.
No, I don't know. I can hear Las Nubes over and over and over.
Yeah.
No me canso.
Little Joe.
And
what a great album, ¿verdad? What about you, Gibby?
Yeah, I would agree, Las Nubes.
Yeah.
There's a song that we did with Let 'Em Read that you know, it touches your heart too, and that was Don Luis el Tejano.
Yeah.
If you live that lifestyle, or your family did, you can certainly relate firsthand the lyrics of that song.
Yeah.
If you hear it, you know, that song really touches my heart.
I've seen that I've heard that song with Ruben Naranjo. He did Don Luis el Tejano. He covered it, and then I think he was way before you guys decided to cover.
We did it first.
Oh, you did it first?
Juan Marco wrote that song.
Órale.
And I got that song from him, and we Adalberto sang it first, and there again we took his voice off and put Jay's.
Yeah. And it came out amazing. That's one of my all-time favorite songs as well, dude.
And he wrote Mujer Liberada too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of... It's a storyline, and I get people right after we recorded Mujer Liberada. I got this lady calling me and saying, "Well, that wasn't fair, you know. They killed the girl. They killed her at the end. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Why did you record that?" I said, "It's just a song, you know. The songwriter brought it to me. We liked the song. We just, well, no, now you need to record another one, but somebody doesn't get killed like that." Yeah. Well, let me find a songwriter.
It's a tragic corrido.
It is.
It's like Laurita Garza. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right. So. 5 greatest moment in your musical career, bro.
Greatest moment,
because I saw you on stage just recently with this big time country artist. What was his name again? John Party.
John Party.
How in the world did that happen?
A friend of a friend, a real good friend of John Party's. Me and his dad went to school together, Freddie Badillo. And Rusty Badillo is a real good friend of John Party. They roped together. Mm-hmm. And I was going to a funeral, and Kyle, a friend of ours, passed away. I was going to the visual. And I get a phone call from this friend of mine, Rusty. He said, "Dave, what are you doing no, I actually got it 2 days before. We were going to go play in Dallas, and he calls me, 'What are you doing Sunday?' I said, 'Well, I got to go to a funeral.' And he said, 'Oh, well, what time is that?' I said, 'Well, probably about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Why?' And he says, 'No, John Party's playing at this livestock show and rodeo in San Antonio.' And I told him that I knew you, and if you could, maybe you could sit in with him and play a song, or 2 or 3 songs."
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was like, yeah, please get him, or call him and see if he'll. And to me, I said, "Man, I don't want to do that, man. I don't even know who's John Party, you know, John Party." and Billy, and we're on the bus when they had Billy, and I told Joey, and they looked at me and they said, "You're going to do it."
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't want to do it." And he said, No, you're going to do it. You know, "Hey, what songs did he sing or what?" And he says, "Dave, we played one of his songs." "Oh, that one? Yeah. Oh, that's a cool song." He says, "Well, you need to do it." And sure enough, I said, "Well," I called Rusty and told him, "Okay, I'll do it," you know. And he hooked it up, man.
¿Y se mocharon o no, Dad?
No se mocharon más.
Un special cameo.
Good job.
Muchas
Yeah,
gracias.
muchas gracias.
Quita una beer.
We'll do one later on.
Yeah.
We're gonna
That
do
dude's
one.
making a lot of money right now,
He's-
John
he's
Party,
great,
man.
He's doing
He
great.
sold out 2 shows in the Rio Grande Valley back to back.
Back to back.
Yeah, so he's doing very popular. But so you know, what was the most special
moment
or greatest moment of your career?
was
bro?
doing one of the reunion shows at the Astrodome in Houston with my dad on stage.
Wow.
Yeah, because we started out the reunion with the first vocalist Ram Herrera, Ram and then Emilio, and then my dad played through Ram, through Emilio to where he was, and then he retired from it, so he got off the stage. But that was to me, that was the highlight.
One of the moments.
My greatest, yeah.
Man, I bet you miss your dad every day.
Oh yeah,
bro.
every day, man. We're always thinking about him, and I just look at my hands, and my mom looks at my hands. Mira las manos de tu papá. Oh my God. Or I'll go to a restaurant, local restaurants there, y la otra vez alguien me dijo, ¿Qué pasó, Tone? I was like, hey, how you doing? And then he says, David, eres tú? You look like your dad. Gibby's told me, oh man, you look like Mr. Garza. I said, oh,
Wow.
well. And I went and told my dad, le dije, Dad, pues no me dijeron, when he was still alive, le dije, Dad, pues no me dijeron allá, ¿cómo estás, Tone? Y le dije, y me miraron, y dije, oh, eres tú, David. Sí. Y me dice, Dad, pues siquiera, cabrón, si quieres huerco mío.
No DNA test needed
DNA,
here. What about you, Gibby, man? I mean, you've got so many Grammys. Like, I don't think a Grammy would be the great, or maybe there's one Grammy that is most special to you. What was the greatest moment in your career, bro?
I was thinking about that while you all were talking.
I know that's not fair. He gets to think of it,
But you know what? I'm very blessed to still be doing this after this is 40 years. I've been doing this whole studio thing here, you know, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
And I've had an opportunity to work with virtually every Tejano artist out there, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I was very instrumental in a lot of those careers.
You sure are.
And I'm very blessed. I've played with David. I've played with Little Joe. I played with Ruben. I played with Selena. I played with Mas. I remember I did some gigs with Mas when I was recording them. Say, hey, come with us. So I'd go play. And who else has done that? Would play with all these groups. To have done all of that, you know. My association with the Grammys, we have these meetings there in L.A. And in one of these meetings, we have a banquet, you know, and there's a jam there. And I grabbed the guitar and got up there. And you got your rock guys. You got your country guys, you got your R&B guys, the jazz guys, and the oldies guys. And I got up there and I was playing with all of them, man. You know this song? Yeah, I got it. You know this song? Yeah, I got it. You know, yeah. So somebody walked up, hey, how do you play all these different styles of music? Yeah. I said, because I'm a Chicano from Texas.
Wow.
And you got to survive, you got to play all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a proud moment. It brought a tear to my eye. But honestly, I think this group Límite, I was recording them in the early 90s, mid-90s, and we recorded a live album at the Foro Sol in DF, right?
Alicia Villarreal.
Yeah, and I went, you know, these guys did a lot of prep. We were there for a week before the gig, setting up and having a sound check and all this. But the night of the show, you know, we had a big mobile truck. I set it all up. The band was ready to go, and I was just kind of twiddling my thumbs waiting for the show to start. So I walked up to the middle of the stage, and look, there were 72,000 people inside that place. Yeah. And I said, damn, man, I'm over here, and all my friends are home, and nobody sees this. And I was by myself in the dark, just mesmerized with all the people that were there. Yeah, and this guy just did this playing guitar. Yeah. And still play guitar.
Wow.
So yes, I've been very blessed. There's been a lot of moments to where you just really thank God, you know, man, this is, you know, I guess he said, you're going to do that, and I'm still doing it.
Well, I'll have to say that I'm very blessed that I was able to sit down here with you guys in your studio, Gibby and David, at the same time, which I don't think anybody out there has an interview like this. And this has been really an honor for me, bro. I really appreciate you guys coming on my show, #PVT. And, man, I hope we can do this again sometime.
Sure, man.
All right.
Do it. Let's do it.
Thank you, David. All right. Hey, that was the show, man. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to comment. Make sure to tell us what you think about the show. Make sure to like the show. And make sure to go on your social media and copy the link of the show and put it on your social media so everybody can find out about #PBT, because we are getting some really great stories, some really great content, and we upload daily. So thank you so much. David Ligarza, Gibby Velasquez, right here from San Antonio, Texas. It is #PVT. Vámonos, sústame one time. Eso.